What's up, mob associates? Jimmy Naples, Johnny Ciccatelli. We're back with another week of Youngstown Mob Talk. And boy, we got some stuff to talk about this week, don't we, Johnny?
Absolutely, man.
We got Crooked City update. We got Post of the Week update. We also got the podcast that you were on.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
About that in a minute.
But I want to say what's up to everybody. I want to, thank you guys for continuing to be involved in the group. And there's been some amazing posts this last week. I want to apologize. I wasn't here last week for the mob talk that Johnny did. Things get busy and sometimes we just can't fix schedules. But hey, it is what it is. But I'm back. We're almost at 26,000 members, man, in the group.
I know it just keeps growing. We hit a recent growth spurt. Seemed like we leveled out at like 23,000, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 we're like right up to almost 26.
Yeah, so I mean, keep being involved, keep engaging in these posts. Let's just make sure that we keep everything friendly and nice. Don't forget, if you see spam or any advertising in there that's unwanted, make sure you report that so we can get rid of that and get it out of there as quick as possible.
Yeah, you know a guy. In this case, you know two guys. So we'll take care of that problem for you. We'll get rid of it. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the group. We're talking about our Youngstown Mob Facebook group. Check it out on Facebook. We're like we said, up to almost 26,000 people. Just search Youngstown Mob. You'll find it right away and join, please.
Yeah, we got a lot of great content out there. We get new people posting stuff, every week. It's just new content, and sometimes we rehash some things, but hey, that's good because sometimes, we might get some information that we didn't have before. Exactly.
Always, the more information, the better. The pictures, guys, if you have pictures, please share them. If you have old news clips, videos, any of that stuff, that's all great stuff. Or if it's just a story, a lot of people are posting stories. Hey, this happened to my uncle, this happened to my cousin. That kind of stuff's great. So keep it coming, guys. Please keep sharing. Again, that's the Youngstown Mob group on Facebook. Please check it out.
So let's talk about what we got this week.
Yeah.
Crooked City.
Okay.
Tell our viewers what they can expect with this week's episode.
So Crooked City, set the scene a little bit if you're not familiar with it, is a podcast all about Youngstown, Ohio, the true crime history, the organized crime history of Youngstown, Ohio, from the late 60s up. It was produced by a company called Truth Media, a guy named Mark Smerling. He's like kind of an OG true crime godfather, if you will. Has a lot of cool projects. I got to work with Mark on the project. I was a producer on that. We did 15 episodes of Crooked City. You can find it anywhere you get your podcasts. You can either binge it, so pay for like a $5 subscription, get all the episodes ad-free at once, or you can listen every Monday. We drop new episodes for free with commercials. Last week, we talked about the death of Ernie Biondillo.
Yep.
And it was, for anybody who's unfamiliar, Ernie was under Joey Naples. So after Joey Naples was killed, Ernie kind of took over Youngstown United Music. And he clashed with Lenny Strollo. And unfortunately, Ernie Biondillo was killed. So we go through all of that story. It's called The One-Way Street. That was last week's episode. So this week, we jump back to James Traficant, our lovable sheriff turned congressman turned convict. And at this point in the story, Jimbo is our congressman here in Youngstown. And this week's episode is kind of like a tangent. It's called Ivan the Terrible.
Okay.
And if you're not familiar with this whole case, it's the John Demoniak case. He was a Cleveland auto worker who was later accused of being a Nazi war criminal.
Yeah, they accused him of being Ivan the Terrible.
They thought he was Ivan the Terrible. So this week in the show, Jim Traficant takes upon that case. He takes on that case against all the advice of his staff and his congressional staff. Everybody tells him, stay away from this. It's toxic. You don't want to touch it. And Jimbo looked at it as the big guy versus the little guy. The system accusing this guy of being, Ivan the Terrible. And to Jim's credit, he says, you'll hear him a few times in the episode say, if John Demoniak is Ivan the Terrible, then let's hang him. But if he's not, we should know. So it's a crazy story. If you watch the Netflix documentary that they did on John Demoniak, good documentary, but they leave Jim Traficant out.
Yeah, I noticed that. I saw that documentary.
How is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, he was the. If it wasn't for him, I think they would have just taken Demoniak over there and just found him guilty. And
they did.
But they would have just stuck him in a hole, and they never heard from the guy. Yeah.
They sentenced him to hang, to death. They said he's Ivan the Terrible, and they had witnesses that were survivors of the concentration camp that looked at him and said, "That's the guy. That's the guy." And I don't want to spoil anything, but James Traficant took this case against everybody's advice, and in kind of only Jim Traficant fashion, goes against the legal system in this case of Israel, and was kind of unbelievable how that turned out. So I don't want to spoil anything. Check it out. This week's episode is called Ivan the Terrible. Anywhere you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. It's on clevescene.com. It's everywhere you get podcasts. So check it out, guys. I was a producer on that show. I was very honored to be a part of it, and very proud to bring that to you. So that's this week's episode.
And you know what? Only Jimmy could have taken on that case and did what he did. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
It's
nuts.
Guy from Youngstown. So, whether you're on the fence, Jim was a big crook or Jim was the greatest guy in the world, you got to admit the man went to bat for the little guy. You got to admit it.
I think he saw in his own plight against the FBI and the government, and again, no matter what you believe in the truth of that case, he saw a little bit of himself in those other kind of situations. In that case, the Demoniak case, I think, especially too. But just a really kind of crazy story. And after that week's episode, after Ivan the Terrible, it gets back on track with, the Lenny Strollo, the 90s, that kind of part of the story. So check it out, guys. We'll talk more about that next week.
Let's talk about your other little thing that you got going on.
Oh, yeah.
So, podcast.
I was, it's not my podcast. It is a guy
you were a guest, I should say.
Yeah, Gary Jenkins, who is a member of the Youngstown Mob Group, is, he has a podcast called Gangland Wire. Gary interviewed me a few weeks back. If anybody got to check it out, he aired the first part of our interview a couple weeks ago. And he's airing part 2 of my interview this week. We're talking all about Youngstown. So last time we talked about the early days, the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s. At this point, we're going to talk about the 70s, 80s, and up, and the 90s. So check that out, guys. Gary Jenkins, he's an old school podcaster. I've been listening to his show for years.
I love him.
Yeah, Gary Jenkins. We're wiretappers. That's what he calls his fans. It's good stuff. Gary was a police officer. He was in the intelligence unit, tracking organized crime in Kansas City. He became an author, a documentary filmmaker. He became a lawyer. He left the police force to become a lawyer, and then he started doing his podcast. So check it out, guys. Gangland Wire. They're talking about Youngstown. So Gary's always he's always mentioned a little bit about Youngstown. He wanted to do Youngstown. So I reached out to him and I said, let's do it. Let's talk about it. And he broke the interview up into 2 parts. Part 2 airs this week. We'll post it here in the group. So check it out, guys. Gangland Wire. And thanks again, Gary. Anytime you want to come on, we'll bring you on this side of it too. And you can talk to all the Youngstown Mob associates.
Yeah, it'd be great to talk to Gary. Great guy.
He is a really good guy.
Let's talk post of the week, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
we got a couple here.
Every week, we try to highlight, at least one post from the Facebook mob, the Youngstown Mob Group. This week, what do you want to start with? You want to go with Tony DeFrank?
Yeah, let's go with Tony.
Tony DeFrank posted something this week asking if anybody knew anything about the Nick Saban incident when Nick Saban was in town and he was in a bar that was robbed. Now, Nick Saban, we found the video. He tells this story. He was a defensive coordinator. I can't remember what college right now.
Michigan State.
Michigan State. He was a defensive coordinator at Michigan State. He was recruiting in Youngstown. And I believe he actually went and graduated from Kent State. So he's got ties to the area. But he's good friends with the Stoops brothers, who are from Youngstown. They went to Cardinal Mooney, famous coaches here, football coaches in Youngstown. Nick Saban was with their uncle Bob, who was coaching South High School at the time. And they were in a bar, I believe it's in the Uptown area, called Talk of the Town.
Yep.
Now, while they're there, they're talking football. You got Nick Saban, this Uncle Bob Stoops. They're sitting there at the bar, just really in-depth conversation about football. And, this must have been the 80s, 1980s at this point. Somebody comes in with a shotgun, and they actually hold the place up. They go to the bartender. They rob the place. They get the money. Nick Saban and Uncle Bob Stoops had no idea. They were so into their football conversation, they didn't notice a guy with a shotgun robbing the joint. And Nick tells this story a few different times. We posted a video. We'll do another post there to highlight Tony's original post. And just a really, of course, it's just another Youngstown story.
Right.
So what a great post. And those kind of things are fantastic, guys. Anything like that you have, share them. There's also, that was just one of many great posts this week. There's been other ones too.
Yeah, let's talk about Louis Stirk. Posted a great photo of Jimmy Prato and his lovely wife, Carmela.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lovely picture of them two holding hands. Great photo. Louis, I want to thank you for that photo. There's not too many photos of Jimmy around, so we definitely appreciate that. I never got a chance to meet the guy, but from what I understand, very well-respected man, and he commanded that respect as well. So
Louis posted another photo of Jimmy Prato in his garden.
Oh, so yeah, I did see that one. I saw that one as well.
I think somebody commented below, it reminds me of the Godfather.
The Godfather,
right?
Yeah.
But, of course, all these guys had gardens, and if you come from an Italian family, we all have gardens, right? Our parents have gardens, our grandparents have gardens in the back growing tomatoes and whatever else they're growing back there. So, just great pictures. That's what I was saying earlier. If you guys have pictures, please share them. That stuff is fantastic. Pictures, videos.
I got a great story for him.
Yeah.
So, good friend of mine, Jeff, I'm not going to say his last name, but Jeff, told me a story. He was a kid, right? And he lived over on the south side, and he used to go over to Big Dom's house. And Big Dom, for those of you who don't know, Big Dom Malamo, Big Dom Malamo lived on Medford, and he had this beautiful garden in his backyard.
It's in Brownlee Woods, right?
Yeah. And Jeff had gone over there one day, and I guess they had picked some tomatoes or something off one of his tomato plants, and boy, he got mad at him, and he made Jeff cut his grass for the whole year to pay for picking tomatoes off his plant. Yeah. But the little stories like that, they tell you, they tell you a little bit about how these people were, and that was like a learning lesson that he was given, Jeff at that time, be respectful of other people's things and, things like that. But just a cool little story that I just wanted to kind of throw out there.
And if you guys don't know some of these names, by the way, so Brier Hill Jimmy Prato, they also called him Two Gun Jimmy, right? Yeah. Vincenzo Prato was his actual name.
Right.
He was a made man associated with the Pittsburgh family, the LaRocca family. Mm-hmm. His uncle was actually Big Dom Malamo, Dominic Malamo. Right. We know that. There's been some confusion with, Lenny Strollo being related. The family tells us that is not the case. The FBI believed that they were. The family says no, they were not. It was respect. It was an uncle kind of Godfather type respect that Strollo would pay Prato, right. But no relation. So cleared that up. And yeah,
But that's like we talk about, when we talk about, we find all this information in these different FBI documents and court documents, and, things that people throw out there. Sometimes you have to really read through the stuff because, like you say, I mean, you know, there was FBI documents that said that, you know, he was his nephew, but we know that's not the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we research it, we talk to family. Family says, nope, not the case, right? So then we know what's true and what isn't. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, you have to dig deep on some of this information because, you know, you don't know if it's coming from a person that's a potential informant, a person that's been an informant for them and has given them reliable information, or a person that's been an informant but is giving them false information. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the cops don't always get it right by any stretch of the imagination. Right. We don't believe everything the cops say or the feds say by any stretch, right? So we know, you know, everything has to be sourced and have a couple sources and figure it out. And that's the kind of journalistic approach we're taking to this stuff. So we appreciate all the feedback, guys. You know keep it coming, and we're trying to do a good job here. We're trying to do the best we can, and go forward. And
don't forget, we're still working on our podcast. We're still working on the T-shirts. I think we got the T-shirt thing figured out. We're just waiting on a trademark to come through. Once that comes through, you're going to start seeing the T-shirts popping up there. What else?
The Vice Squad.
Yeah, our Vice Squad podcast it's coming, guys.
It's in production right now.
We're just making sure that we do our due diligence. We want as much factual information out there as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody out there, if any of you have any information on these guys from, you know, the 50s and 60s, whether you did your own FOIA request or anything, we're always looking for that kind of information.
Pictures, especially.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like we did that FOIA request. Which one was it? Was it Big Dom? I think it was.
Yeah.
So we sent a FOIA request in for Big Dom to get his FBI records. And basically what they sent us back was there's about 16 to 1,700 pages, but it's going to take us like 6 years if you want all of it. So, you know, things like that we run into. That's why we ask, you know, if you guys have any extra information out there that might be helpful to us, we appreciate it. You know, we'll credit you with, you send us information. We'll give you credit for sending us information. We're not just going to take it and run with it and say, oh yeah, this is ours. No. We do our research. We'll look at your information. We'll verify it. We'll double check it, fact check it, whatever we have to do. And, you know, we will credit people with giving us information because, you know, we're only two people. We can't do it all.
Exactly. We rely on you guys as well. So please, you know, be a part of the group, share things. Also, guys, we have a YouTube page. It's called just Amazing Podcast Company. That's the banner we're going to put all our podcasts out under. We need your to subscribe. So we need subscribers to this page. Check it out. Please subscribe. Starting next week, we're going to be giving away authentic James Traficant prison paintings to our subscribers, to our YouTube subscribers. So every time we hit another 100 milestone, we're, I believe, at like 560, somewhere around there right now. When we hit 600, we'll give out another one. When we hit 700, we'll give out another one. So we'll pick somebody at random, one of our subscribers, and we will send them an authentic James Traficant prison painting. So please, guys, subscribe to the page. It's youtube.com/amazingpodcastcompany. Check it out. That's where we have all these videos live.
Yeah, and watch the videos, man. You know, we put a lot of time and effort into this stuff for you guys. You know, so check out what we got on there, and we're always going to be adding stuff, and you know, we want to try to bring you as much content as possible. And hey, it's not just about true crime. We have other stuff that we do. I mean, you got Thesaurus. How's that been coming? Yeah, so that's some pop culture stuff. You know, different avenues, guys. There's like movie podcasts and nerd culture podcasts, all kinds of stuff going on there. We're working on a sports one as well for later. So those are some different pop culture ones. We got some true crime ones in the work. Like we talked about the Vice Squad. We got some other ones I can't tell you about right now, but they're coming. Check it out. You're going to love them, especially those true crime ones. I know, the Youngstown Mob Group, that's kind of our core base is the true crime stuff. So can't wait to share that with you, but you have to subscribe to the channel. It's free. It's the easiest way to show your support is just click that subscribe button. And hey, I want to thank everybody again. This has been another edition of Youngstown Mob Talk. I'm Jimmy. I'm Johnny. We'll see you next time.